Thank you everybody to join me for this is the first time on Zoom, and I hope everybody doing okay. And I'm going to just very quickly start the demonstration. So I'm going to do a still life demo. You can see the setup behind me and also the canvas behind me. So since the time constraint, I don't want to say too much now, so I just go ahead and start. So enjoy. Okay, okay. We have the hope have a smooth ride. Okay, okay. Let's talk about the setup a little bit. Okay, so you can see I have a canvas here. This is my palette here. Okay, Jonathan, move up a little bit. I can see the whole palette. Whole palette, yeah, good, good. Okay, this is the setup. Okay, the setup, I put some fruit. There's 3 pairs there, and 1 piece of a metal, and with a gray background, and also there's a piece of a dark, and my palette here, you can see the colors. Can you see all the colors? Maybe not. Okay, I have white here, and I'm using the limited palette. So I have the 3 primary colors. Yellow, I use yellow lemon today. And then the red, I use the quinacridone rose. And then this is the manganese blue hue. And I have ultramarine here as the dark blue. And I have this one, the lower one, is transparent oxide red. Then in the middle, I have a neutral gray color. So that color is a Portland Gray Deep by Gamblin, which means I can, instead of mixing a gray, I just use the natural gray there. Okay, okay, now I'm going to start the toning the canvas. The canvas I'm using is a Centurion panel, okay, fine linen. And the medium I have some of the Gamblin solvent-free gel. And also I have some of the linseed oil here and some of the Gamsol here. Okay, so first thing, before I do anything, this is a fine linseed oil. I will put a little bit this on canvas. So I put some of the linseed oil on my paper towel, start to rubbing the surface of that. So this is just blank canvas. I didn't do anything. I'm just going to go ahead to rubbing some of that. The purpose of that is to allow the canvas absorb some of the linseed, then to make the paint move a little smoother. Sometimes the canvas getting too absorptive, it will feel sluggish. You have lots of dry marks. So this one, maybe that's the first trick I'm showing you. So people who took my workshop before already know I use this trick a lot. So now the paint can move a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to start to mixing the color. Bring the palette view a little bit higher. Okay, I'm going to use some of the ultramarine blue. Okay, then some of the transparent oxide red. Okay, so these 2 colors get together. Probably you see kind of dark black there, but it is actually a mixture. This is the way I make a black. Nowadays I start to really use ivory black. Quite many years, I don't use that. I just use the combination between ultramarine and red oxide. But now I feel, maybe I can use directly ivory black. So maybe in the future, at some demos, I will show you, I will do that, using directly black. Okay, I tone my canvas. I kind of just roughly rubbing the canvas. So since there's a little bit linseed oil, you can see that I can get a pretty smooth, uh, coating on that. Okay, so I bring the canvas into middle value. So this way I can do some drawing, and also I can design my value on top of this. And I'm just going to do a simple drawing. Okay, so the bottle in actually just a piece of black. I know there's some sort of black here, and then there's a maybe that's the metal object. So I say maybe, so because I'm not sure, So at this moment, I'm kind of just doing a design. Maybe I will give some of the table area. So maybe I will put a table kind of like here. So since I have drapery, so maybe the drapery can go some, so at least I will show some of the drapery there. So that way I need to elevate this. So I will go slightly higher. Maybe I'll bring this thing. See, I'm kind of moving thing around. So that's why I don't really do any detail work. So I will just try to, okay, the ending of the metal will be there. So the pear, this one need to go a little bit higher. So I will go there. So there's some grapes there. So maybe I'll make a smudge of dark. Okay, then this area is my center focus area. So I will just do a very simple drawing. Drawing is the most fundamental part of the painting. So if you said for beginner, you said, okay, maybe I don't really know too much of how to draw, and then I just want to paint. So that will be a little difficult. So I will really recommend people, especially beginners, really do more drawing. So in the future, after I hope everything can go back to normal. Then I can teach a workshop again. Then in that case, I probably will talk in detail. What's the drawing part? Okay, in generally, I allocate the objects. Okay, so these objects. Oh, okay. I'm going to move that slightly in. Okay, you still can see it, right? So now this bottle, I'm not going to emphasize that. I'm just using that as a piece of dark. So now you start to see I have some sort of a placement. I have my center, I have my major mass of a metal object, and here this area will be a dark area. So this is like generally my design for the painting. Okay, so on top of this design, I start to manipulate value. I'm still using the same color. Maybe Jonathan, you can zoom it in. Okay, Jonathan's my son. He's kind of monitoring the technical part. So the young people can do much better, and we're learning. I hope someday I can really be able to manage this thing. Okay, so we can see in general, I have this geometrical design. So now I'm looking into where is the dark, where is the middle value, where is the light. So the dark part at this moment, I don't really care too much about detail, right? So I just go ahead, I know that's a piece, a bottle, but I don't have to make that look like a bottle. I'm just going to go to make a piece of dark. So this will be the piece of dark there, and the pear area. Okay, so this part I will let the edge kind of going. So that's a piece of dark. And then this will be my middle value, kind of gray area. Probably I leave it alone. Okay, there's a more dark, for instance, the grape area, I will make a little bit darker. There's a casting shadow on here, I'll make it darker. There's some grapes here. Then here is darker because there's a casting shadow for the black bottle. Okay, even there's some design work, I will make it a little bit darker there too. So some part, maybe this part is dark, which is I don't really see dark there, but maybe it can be helpful for the design. So this is my general two values. You see dark and middle. Okay, the light area will be on the pear and maybe some of the highlight on the metal part. Okay, so I'm going to have a piece of a paper towel. I use the Bounty paper towel. Okay, I break them into small pieces like that. So then I can wipe out some part. Okay, something I want to mention, since this meeting, only lasts 30 minutes, then at the 12:30, maybe closer to 12:30, I'm going to stop the meeting and then start another meeting. So then okay, so you can maybe take a short break at that time. So now, then with the second link, I send it to you, you use that to sign in again. Okay, this moment, I don't really care too much about detail, like the pair or anything. So I just basically try to get a piece of light. Okay. I dip my paper towel into Gamsol so I can wipe out the area pretty clean. Oh. You might zoom into that painting area, people can see better. Okay. Similarly, I have another piece of white here, or a light. And on the metal part, so the metallic surface is a little bit complicated because this side is a shadow area. So I will gradually move that closer to my dark. So I'm just kind of swiping I didn't really change the paint. It's still transparent oxide red and ultramarine blue. But I will bring this shadow a little bit darker. So I ignore the reflections on here as well. There's some shadow. Okay, there's a piece of a casting shadow by the pear to the metal. Okay, so the spout I can indicate there, but doesn't really matter. That's more detail. Okay, I'm only concentrate on the bigger shape at this moment. So okay, I'll use my piece of paper towel to indicate my highlight. So I put it there, maybe smudge a little bit. So how's the time? Okay, I think the time still have 5 more minutes. So I indicate more highlight there. Okay, and also like now have most of the light area, but I will link I would like to link the light area a little bit together. Feels a little bit broken. Okay, so like the drapery area, for instance, like here, I want to be kind of brighter. So I use my paper towel with a little bit Gamsol, and I do that. So this area, I will wipe it too. So you have a major piece of a light. Okay, so for instance, like here, maybe there's lots of details or like I don't need to worry too much, but I will make that. So my value is very clearly showing I have a piece of dark, and massive amount of a middle value, small amount of light. So that's majorly the design. Okay, on top of this, I will start to do the color. So I'm going to work on the color. So the color part is, so I usually start from gray. You know, I have the Portland gray there. You can bring to the view for the palette and together. Okay, make the palette a little higher. Okay, so first thing, I want to follow the value map. You know, everything here, the value looks okay. So now I'm going to put it on color. So first thing, you know, talking about mixing color. Okay, so we can show here. So I put some of the gray, and then this gray is, you know, you can first thing adjusting your piece of gray kind of closer to the layout of the value here. So here is pretty transparent. And then after I put this gray there, you know, everything will be opaque. Even the color may not be right at this moment, but the value is right. So if this part, for instance, this gray or this value is very similar to my, you know, the gray out of tube Portland gray deep. So I will put some of that in there, you know, for the background. Well, I don't have to be fully cover that, you know, but I will put some of them there. Also here, maybe, you know, some of the design can be here. So I kind of keep some corner abstract. So maybe here too. Okay, so now coming to this area, I will add in some white, you know, so still concentrate value. We're still kind of on the value. I'm not talking about temperature or hue or anything. So basically just try to get the value kind of right. So I think that will be the value kind of closer to this area. So be a lighter gray. Maybe we call that intermediate stage for color before really doing the color. Some of the white I can indicate on the highlight part. Okay, so on top of this, you know, we can start to doing more color. You know, for instance, this gray is a little bit too bluish to me. So that means I will do the putting some of the color. I look at it here, okay, because I'm using a warm light source. So the warm light will make here more warmer, which is a orangey or type of color. So since I'm using limited palette, so I'm going to do is to, I will mix some orange. Okay, so I will go with yellow. Okay, and then some of the red there. So I will start to make that more kind of orangey. So I will start to get a little bit this orange color into the gray. Actually, quite a bit, pretty much all that I used here. Okay. So this became a warm gray. So means you from this neutral gray, and then you go into a little bit in the temperature direction, warmer gray. So this area will be that. So I'll get in the bigger brush and have this warmer gray, and then start to cover this part a little bit more, you know, start to get the temperature change. So this is actually a good example, you know, how do I mix color? First step, I match the value using neutral gray. And then I push the value into the hue direction. So I will see a little bit orange here. So I make a whole bunch of orange, and then I will get that, okay. So now I will go to, for instance, still using the gray, I'm coming to this area. It's still kind of warm, so but a much, much higher value. So I will do the value. First, I will bring that value much brighter first. Then I will start to getting my temperature. Okay, so this will be the temperature for this part. Okay, teaching on Zoom. This is my pretty much the first time, and I did some demos for some events, but this is the first time really deal with it myself. Okay, then since this is about 12:30 now, I'm going to end this meeting. Then you'll sign in the meeting with the second link I send it to you. You know, you still have that. I hope in the future we don't have to deal with this, but today is, we have to do that. Okay, you can take a short break, and then I will see you in 2 or 3 minutes. Bye, see you soon. On the shadow here too. So come to here, gradually getting green. So I will add in more green on this side. So also like here will be green too. Okay, so on this one, the shadow will be green, but there's lots of reflections from this pair to that pair. It started getting more yellow. So I'm going to get in here. So more on the yellow-green part. Okay, then on this part, it will get in the light area. The light area, it will be much yellower. So I will have a more yellow with a little bit green. Okay, I'm gonna make a little bit more green, so more yellow with the green here. So first thing, bring this green there, but this green is too artificial. Okay, so means I'm going to getting some of the yellow. Let's try that, you know, some part like here, I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, actually it is not bad. It's like a little bit too green. So I will go with more yellow, but slightly red. You know, I don't want to be too, you know, the chroma too high. You know, so that like we first, you know, like I said, value first, hue second, then the chroma. So the chroma is too high here. So I will start to bring it down. Okay, I think that's getting better. So this part I can getting much more, you know, quicker. And then they start to go into that purple again. So I will get in the purple, but don't really totally mix them together. Otherwise it's getting kind of muddy looking. So this part slightly in shadow. Okay, but the shadow more here. So I will push this shadow more together to have them joined. Okay, so then soft edges, soft edges. Okay, similarly, I will do this one, getting more yellow. Oop, I'm getting some of the black there. So, okay, so this will be the yellow, some green, but mainly just yellow. And then there's something in between. I'll put some sort of a purple. Get that. And then a little bit yellow there. So on this side, have some shape of the light. Okay, now this one has more red on it. Okay, more red. So this one will be I will start from this orange I mixed before. Maybe a little bit more yellow. Okay, I'll have this combined with my green. So it started getting dull, you know. So after the color, so I'm adjusting the chroma. Chroma is pretty subtle here, so I have to be really careful. Also the value, you know, make sure the value is right. I need more orange. Maybe that's too red. Okay, still more orange. Okay, this part, I will start to adding more yellow. And then this part started getting more red. So I will start to adding red. And expanding that, gradually merge into the color in the back. Okay, so that's generally the color of the pear. So then I start to adding some of the highlights. So we're recording this process, right? Yeah, so okay. 30 minutes, 1 hour is actually pretty short time. I may not able to finish everything maybe, but I'm keep on recording. So eventually I'm going to put this thing on YouTube. So you can come back and watch the video to see more finished piece. Okay, then the on the this pair, gonna put some knob there. So don't finagle too much, you know. So after you're getting something on, you'll just keep it like that. Okay, so now I want to see concentrate on this thing a little bit more. Okay, going to have another brush. So I have a more gray there, okay? So, and also there's a lots of reflection. I will working on this highlight area. So I will go to my gray, maybe neutral gray. I'll start with that. Then I'm gradually adjusting the color. So this is an opaque color area. Gray is opaque, and then the but my underpainting is kind of transparent. So I will gradually getting the light area more opaque. Keep the area for the shadow part more transparent. So gradually working on that part. So I have a piece of a dark. So I will go, maybe I will go dark here. So always concentrate on the value. You know, color, if color is wrong, it's not really serious problem, but the value is wrong, it's not going to work. Gonna getting some of this color reflecting into the metal part. And some of the gray there. And there's a other part. I'm just kind of using the gray, try to manipulate the value, try to get a closer to the structure. There's another piece of a highlight. I get a little confused. Okay, this will be some piece of dark in this area. Get some of the dark here. Okay, then more light. So this part, I'm pretty much just doing the value, so that's why I can use the neutral gray to do that. So this part is dark. I use some of the gray with the dark. So I'll make some darker gray. Okay, so there's some of the reflections. We can put that there too. I can have maybe some of the red color go there. So that will be reflected from this pair, and then some of the yellow green go there. But make sure the value will be slightly darker. The reflection always weaker than the real thing. So if you do just another mirror image of that, it will not look like the reflection. Yeah. Okay, there's a, so you have very general ideas. So I can go ahead. So of course this top will need a little bit of manipulation. But however, on the lower part, then I will start to brighten it up. I have that warmer, kind of a little bit orangey, and but lots of white going here for this drapery. So I will start to introduce some part. Maybe I will go to have some of the folds, introduced to it. Of course, the depends on how much time you have. Then you can do more. Then the shadow is a little bit cool. I will go slightly darker. Go a little bit purple. Maybe here too. So it will start to give that feeling of a shadow of the drapery. And then this part, maybe I'll brighten it up slightly more. Go slightly darker here. And then some of the light there. So that will be the knob. So very quickly, I'm going to do this sprout. Maybe 2 strokes. So I go back to my background color, cut into it. One piece of a highlight somewhere. Okay, but you got an idea. So later on, I can work on this, this whatever metal that thing is. I can continue on that. Okay. So this is a stage, we call that Massian. And then we got so far, if I'm pretty much finished everything, so I would just kind of finagle some of the details, maybe the grapes. I can give a little bit redder color. So quinacridone rose. I'll put a little bit yellow into the more kind of more stronger red. So that's the general feeling of that. So that's kind of, we go through the realistic part of it. So now you can go start to do more design, you know, like instead of just neutral gray here, I will start to introduce more color. So you'll start to get in more detail. Anyway, so that's in general, that's my approach. Let's bring this into a full screen. So I may not have time for your questions. However, thank you for coming for this demonstration. You know, then you can see the very, even in a very short time. So I got a general layout of the still life. It's very painterly and very loose. So it will take some practice, you know, like to get the brushstroke like this. But however, the approach is I always go step by step. You know, first thing, have the geometry. Second thing, have the value correct. You know, the third one, I start to manipulate large piece of color and then get into the details. So that's my general approach to that. So in the future, I hope gradually I will get used to this kind of technical terms, technical tools, and then maybe I will offer more classes, more tips on YouTube, and also more real workshops. So thank you for coming to this class or this demonstration. And then I'm going to finish this painting. So let's talk about a little bit more my approach. Okay, so I call this alla prima, means you paint from life, and then so I concentrate on the design and not really nitty-gritty details. So doing this kind of exercise really helps you to improve. When I started painting, I think it's about 20 years ago, you know, I'm already pretty late. You know, I didn't go to school. So I do this kind of study every day. You know, I call myself a daily painter. I do a small painting, like a 6x8 or 6x6, maybe doing one pair, maybe one piece of a metal, and then do that every day and practice, then you're getting better and better. So that's, if you talk about secret to be, how to progress faster than, you know, than the pace you want it to be, that will be the secret. Okay, so I will organize my painting information into my online classes. And also eventually I'm going to offer online workshops. I hope after the pandemic pass, I'm going to resume my regular art workshop teaching. I hope I can meet you or see you again and we have some fun. Okay, thank you. So that will be the end of today's demo and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Bye-bye. Like this. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now my Zoom meeting's over. I still have a little bit unfinished part on the demo painting. So I'm going to continue paint a little more than to bring this into a finished stage. So I may not talk too much, but you're welcome to watch me. So this is really a good experience for me to work using this Zoom tool. And I still have a learning curve to do. And always something pop up. I thought, I already did my homework, but it's always something happen. Um, so I apologize for some people may not log in. I think the problem was the meeting ID is different. It turned out it's like the invitation ID. I send it to everybody is different from the ID I have when I start meeting using the ID I have, and I don't really see anybody until find out. Then so my son was with me, and he's noticed that. So then we have to be manually type in the ID to Zoom, and then be able to continue the class. Oh, otherwise, I was there waiting for people to coming in, but just nothing happened. Just myself. That's the time I start to realize something wrong. But okay, anyway, learning curve. So we gradually we will get there. So I work on the drawing a little more to get the shape a little bit better. So I'm in this stage of doing details. It's probably during the demo I mentioned that, I'm working on the edges, I soft edges and sharp edges. And so all of this is a part of the design or modeling part of it, because sometimes um, you have the color and then you do need some detail or some realistic part. Well, that's reflection is too strong. Well, Zoom is a very good tool. It requires some time to really know what's going on. And so I'm still in the middle of the learning part. I know a little bit now, and I still require me to know more. So I hope future I'm going to think about more how to use this tool. It could be upgraded to a paid version, then to avoid some of the difficulties. I think that's the future plan. But this is free Zoom gave me opportunity to learn. I think that it really it works pretty well, you know, to give me something to know what's going on, and in the future after I gain more experience, and then I hope it getting a little bit smoother. Okay, I put a more cooler shadows behind the bottle. I'm still debating, should I make that look like a bottle or not? But the important thing, there's a casting shadow, give me some opportunity for some blue. So personally, besides I'm learning how to use all these tools, at the meantime, I'm more learning about painting. You know, myself, I consider even been painting for a while, and there's so much I don't know. And so this is a good time, you know, because I cannot do my regular travel plan. I cannot really go many places teaching workshops. So it gave me opportunity to stay home. And then it's actually I feel you know I should utilize all of this opportunity so I can learn more. I concentrate on color, and also share some of my new learning, new knowledge and experiences, and using some of my online courses. Um, it is quite fascinating to uh, really working on the scientific part of the color, so I understand quite a bit. You know, I feel there's a two group of people. You know, artist is one of the group, and the scientist is the other. But there's a lack of a communication between the art community and the science community. So I think it's necessary somebody need to work on that. So I'm working a little bit now, but eventually we'll work a little bit more so I can share with you what I have learned. It's quite fascinating, you know, it's like going parallel. So artists have their pigment and then color wheels, and then the scientists start to talk about spectrums, sensitivity about the eye um, receptors of color, and then going to different type of like additive and subtractive color mixings. Then they develop the different ways to different systems. So, so we need to have the communication between the two uh, group group of people, two part of the knowledge about color. So I think that will make the understanding, the knowledge about color more helpful. My today's light is warmer for the light and cooler for the shadow. So you can see I put a more blue into the relatively dark area. Well, today's limited palette and is I personal feeling about limited palette is actually relatively hard because you have to deal with lots of mixing, and I consider actually limited palette is for advanced painters. So if you are just starting, I will I think we all have to go through a stage, which is at the very beginning. Don't worry about, try to use as much as possible at your disposal. If you can get a color in the store, then get it. Then you will use it, and then uh, I uh, I don't know. You see my demo with the plein air live or the demo was another interview with Eric Rose, the publisher of the Plein Air magazine, and I didn't use limited palette, so that way I have all the hues. So when I have all the hues, I don't need to worry about mixing the hues, and then I worry about value. After I get a value right, then I can pretty much see the uh, hue, and then I select the hue out of the tube, and then go to that hue, and then then adjusting the chroma. So that's relatively easy and relatively convenient. But but of course, more people using limited palette is for there's lots of practical reasons, because the usually plein air painters, it will be cumbersome. You have to carry so many tubes. But then after you have a group, you have a more developed sense how to utilize color and color mixing, then I gradually decrease amount of paint I use, and then I can be more, utilize limited palette in plein air situation. So I don't need to carry so many tubes, and I'll be able to mix the hue I want. Also, people talking about limited palette be relatively too easy to keep a color harmonized. That's true because you have very few color you'll be able to use, and then the three primary colors will determine the gamut of your. Stop talking. um, so. Okay. So there's a state, the development process. At the very beginning, I use as many color as possible, and then gradually learning how to mix color, and then develop your strategy of mixing color, and then start to use your strategy to during the painting process. And I have some, I work on the limited palette for quite, no, the developed palette for quite a long time, then develop my strategy. So if you're interested to know the strategy I have, there's an online course on my website. You can check it out, talking about color theory, talking about the strategy of how I mix color. I'm adding a little bit more detail and also more color, actually. For details, you can do a lot. All of this highlight area is edge work. You know, some edges sharper, some edges softer. So that's the really the key to make something look realistic. Because painting is an illusion. It's nothing really. You know, you have there's no exactly how to do anything. It's difficult to say how to do metal, how to do pear, how to do glass, and but there's a general principles. You do that, but after that, you all of this have to be, um, you know, you have general principle. You follow your general principle, then figure out the different type of relationships, edge relationships, color, value, all different type of relationships. After the relationship get it correct, then you have correct illusion. Okay, I don't want to get in too much detail, so we can check the symmetry. It looks like this piece of highlight is a little bit too on the side because there's a center here. So this part supposed to be ended here. So I'm going to change a little bit to move that piece of highlight in more. We'll move that to here and then start to get a little bit more into the shadow. Okay, that edge is a little too sharp. I'll make that softer. So that's better. And there's a handle for the pot, but I don't want to get too busy of that. So edge a little softer. You know, the edge on this one is really pretty soft and pretty rough. I'm kind of leave it alone. So this edge may be a little too harsh. You know, when the color changes from one color on the one pair color to another pair color, it could be difficult. Important thing, keep the value of the green color for the pear and the red part of the pear kind of together. So that way you can have the transition a little bit better. Okay, I think that's pretty much for today's demonstration. Maybe I will just getting some of the empty part of the canvas and filling the gaps and make that more solid, but you don't have to be so too mechanical. You know, you can even leave some empty or unfinished area to give the spontaneity feeling of the painting. Okay, I think that's pretty much what I'm going to do, and so hope you'll enjoy this process. Then I'll figure out next time. I'll let you know on my social media. So please follow me. You know, either on my social media and Facebook or the Instagram or YouTube. Thank you for watching. So I stop now.